Hey everybody, let's make a cool wand out of Thibra. What do you say? So we're going to make a very simple wand with either a nice little twig you might find or a dowel, and we're going to show a bunch of different fun techniques with Thibra.
I'm going to eat your tummy.
This I find to be extremely simple. No one actually needs to be able to sculpt, mind you. I'm making my eagle wand, but I made it very similar to the way I'm just about to show you. And I think I'm gonna sculpt a snake and put that around right at the end. We'll see. I'll probably do a different tutorial when I actually start painting this one. Now, let me show you how simple this is. I always say get something to kind of give yourself a little bit of rigidity when it comes to your Thibra. You could choose a very straight, a thick or thin dowel, any kind of, some old paintbrush handle. I really like grabbing a really cool stick off a tree. Thibra is a very smooth, low temperature, moldable plastic, and I have found this to be one of my favorite things to work with. So I cut a couple thin strips of Thibra. They come in sheets, extremely smooth, and I'm just gonna lay it right there on top. I'll make it that simple. And I'm just gonna grab my heat gun. Now, I don't keep the heat gun in a single place for too long, because I don't want to overheat the Thibra. You overheat the Thibra and you try to form it, it's gonna get pretty hot. It's gonna burn your hands a little bit. I can always go back in. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give this a quick wrap. I'm gonna pull some of that. I'm being very reckless. Why is he so reckless? Because right now I'm not worried too much about details. I'm just getting a shell of Thibra around the wand. That's all. That's all I'm doing. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to form it. If I find there's certain areas that I feel are a little bit too thick, I'm gonna pull some Thibra off. See, now right there, I can use that anytime I want. Just slightly reheat it, probably while it's still very pliable. I'm gonna thin it out a little bit. It becomes much easier to heat. Pop that right there. And then I'll just form that around. I put a nice shell around it. I put a bit of a base around it. I wanna talk a little bit about, this is a cooking silicone mat. By the way, this is not for cutting, as a colleague showed me, because that's not what you want it for. But the Thibra won't stick to this. The Thibra is very sticky when you heat it up. It'll stick to a lot of things, so this is a very good investment. I'm very happy she showed me this. Simple fines around it. I'm just gonna give it a very low heat. And I got a couple choices here I can do. So choice number one, I'm gonna go low heat, and I can come on with a wood carving tool, or I could just grab the end of a brush, which I just sharpened. Wood does not stick to Thibra nearly as much. For sculpting toys, we were always looking for textures. And so what I found is I found a really cool texture on a tree, and I grabbed some Super Sculpey, and I made a couple swatches of texture. And so this could be something that you may want to do, but if I am going to do texture, first thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna lightly heat it up. Don't wanna overheat it. Don't wanna bubble it. Doesn't take much. Before I put texture on it, I tried everything. I tried WD-40, all sorts of other, Pam, I find. I put that on the swatch. Now this is gonna leave an oily film on your Thibra, but the good news is once the Thibra hardens, then you can come right in and you can just wipe that right off. And you can just kind of start stamping texture into, if that's something you want to do. And I'm going to keep this one pretty basically simple. However, my brain, you can do whatever you want. My brain says I want to actually throw some fancy stuff on it. There's Matt going overboard again. Man, he could have just made a simple wood grain wand. He could have done it. That's just not, guys, be who you are. Just be true to yourself. And my truth says this wand needed a skull on the end. And I'm probably gonna overdo it some more. Oh, Yeah, probably gonna do it. But we'll look at this here when I'm done. Maybe I'll do something when I actually give it some paint. Who knows? There we go. Now the wand's on there. Now I got me a nice little skull on there. That's kind of fun. Guys, it's really up to you. Have fun. Play around. You know, you don't have to go ahead and do detailed stuff like this. You don't have to sculpt aggressive stuff. You can just keep these very, very simple. And they're super fun. You can actually put a nice jewel at the end. This wand was made. Hope the jewel doesn't fall out. We haven't glued it in yet or even painted it.
Oh, that was by Elisa.
If you heat it up, you can go and just pop a nice little gem right in there. And then, once it cools down, pop the gem out and then glue it back in. It's really endless what you could do with this. I am a big fan. Go make some wands, man. Oh, so many wand options. This wand was made by Melody Howe.